All right, old alternator, new alternator. This new alternator has a serpentine thing. This is dual pulley, and it's not a typical dual pulley. Just to show you how to change it over, because it's like ordering a fillet of fish at McDonald's if you wanted one. All right, ready? Got the socket, 15-16 socket. Boom, off. Take that off, put it on here, put the nut. You know what might be better is just putting the nut from the new one, so you have a new nut and a new washer. And you go like this. This is a deep well in here, so a little hard to catch the thread, but I caught it. Oh, I missed it. Hang on, it's taking longer just to catch the nut. That's it. Done. All right, I'm back. I have not been filming anything, to be honest. But here's what I've done so far. I just did this today. This is a new fan. The blue one was $5 or $6 cheaper, so I bought it. I bought two 8-inch ones, and then I was like, nah, it's just too small. This is a 12-inch fan. That's a big condenser, so did that. I set all the plugs up and everything, put little, gizmos, to hold the wiring in. I got the two horns in. Did not test them. I have crimped the AC hoses and locked them in, although I will probably take off the compressor because I can't remember if I drained the compressor or not, because I think the oil that was in it, even though I really feel they all come with the 134 oil, I didn't want to take a chance because I just recently had that 69 Dart that I'd done AC on. This is totally seized. It seized while I was doing it. Ends up being I ran the hose underneath because that was clocked at 90 degrees, and it created more problems for me because when the high side curls under, that fucks up. Got this really nice 64 Thunderbird. I really didn't take any videos except for the carnage to the transmission. The pump is no good. It was basically working fine. It was pissing out like crazy. The torque converter hub was cracked. So I've been doing a few other things. I've been doing work in the movies because now the filming's starting to go up. Ends up being, once I got this thing running, it did not charge, so I bought a new one. This actually came with a serpentine bell. It was 94 amp, and I figured that was appropriate with the electric steering, and based it that it has the two pulleys that really helps, hold it together. I redid this because I just did it. I bent the bracket that holds it a little bit because I filled it up with fluid, and I got it running. I put it in gear and all this and that. The exhaust is like going to be very tight and everything, so I'm going to work on that soon. I have a couple of things here figuring out with the wiring. I meant to put this on. I got to find the quickie thread thing. That way you drill it right in and it makes the threads, and then I'll put some machine screws to hold it. This is the sensor for the electronic fan control. That operates the two fans. I still got to put the switch in for the fan over here. I haven't put any antifreeze in, but I think I'll be ready to shortly. I think I got a drip of oil, but the whole oil thing there with all those, and I really feel it's the top sensor there, which is the regular oil light. Not quite sure why. Actually, no, it's the turn on for the choke, but I think I have something else hooked up to it. I could be wrong. So basically when you have oil pressure, then the choke starts working. There's no sense to have the key on and then it makes the choke open on its own. Still got to put clamps on the upper hose. As far as the inside here, I started messing with the steering wheel, and I had to readjust something with the steering box with the things. It works a lot better. It is what it is right now. I think it's working fine. It's not as good as it could be, but I just think between the wide tires and everything, like I didn't have the same problem with my friend's car. But the geometry could be a thing, so I'm getting ready to work on that. I did a lot of work to make this radio work. I actually made some brackets here that are just very simple. They come off the thing I already made there, and that's where these two studs are going to lay. Okay, and then I got this guy here, which is from the radio. It kind of goes this way because that's where I had a bolt going through. I probably should have just put a new bolt in the center, but then again, sometimes it's hard to actually do that. So I folded this back so it's holding the radio. The radio's super in there. It's very light, but it's in there. But I'm going to run something off there to get the third stud in the middle there. And then I can make the hoses for the inside. I don't like this guy here. The original one here, seemed to be working. Then I got the cable, because as much as I was blaming the cable was tight. The new cable was super loose, and then I bolted it on. I'm like, it's awfully tight. And this is a girl driving. I can only imagine what she's going with. Now, there's maybe a sharp return because of everything going on there. So that's that. Oil and amp light work. Gas gauge works. Everything's working right now. I'm debating where to put speakers in the front here. I don't really want to put them in the door because then that means I have to run wiring through here. And, that could work, drilling the holes on both sides and whatnot. But I'd rather not be the guy who drills a hole for that. This thing is like basically crap. It's just so old. And they want like $500 for like a couple of pieces of these things. The two on the bottom here and something else. It's kind of insane. I took apart this in the back here, this piece of wood here. Somebody had tried to do this, and it kind of fits, but it's all bowed now because it was wet, because you could see light going through right there because the gasket is shrunk. And I picked up a rear defogger thing, so I'm going to hook up a rear defogger. And I'm going to use that green wire I had in the back here as the circuit. And normally... hang on. So I gotta pick up something like that. I gotta use they put some kind of wiring here for the radio, I guess, to put two speakers in the back. It's like telephone wire, which is good, so I'm gonna reutilize that. I'm gonna use this for the rear defogger. And the rear defogger, it comes with two of them, but I think it's only sensible to put one in, but I might put the two of them, two separate motors. And then two round speakers in the back there. I bought some kind of, it's basically called chalkboard from Home Depot, and it's like heavy masonite, but it's 3/16 of an inch thick, so it's kind of thin. I bought a staple gun, I bought this, I bought that, I bought a whole bunch of stuff, and bought a jigsaw. What else? Got a lot of little things for this, and it's like cosmetic shit, takes forever. This is the best I can do with the steering wheel. I painted it and put the clear coat on it, and what I ordered is a cover, the leather cover that goes around this, so I'm going to do that, and therefore a lot of it's going to be covered up because I can't do this effectively. It was almost better off I didn't even touch it, but it was cracked in so many places, and I just feel like I'm touching it and messing with it, and I kind of don't want other people to take the shit apart. In a certain sense, because this thing is going to have a thing on it. It's going to be spring loaded and whatnot, because now it's not holding against the car. The whole thing could come out, so or the spring would push it off the unit. So I made it spring loaded within itself by putting a bushing, and I got to look at old videos to see how I did it because I took it apart. It's been apart for so long. So this and this don't look terrible, and then hopefully when the horn ring goes on, it covers up even more. And then don't forget, I got to get the directional signal thing that I bought. It's got a ride on this very edge here. That's how it cancels it. So these are all little tedious things that I was thinking about. Bought the wrong speakers. They were just tweeters. Tell you, they'll write anything in a freaking Amazon listing just to get you to buy it. It's almost like they get 2 cents for listing it, and if you buy it, even if you return it, they don't lose somehow. I don't know. I think this guy is I bought the torque converter cover because the torque converter cover. There is no torque converter cover, but I realized that you can't use a plastic one on this car because I guess maybe the tranny was rebuilt or something along those lines, or just something that they did it anyway. They used it anyway. And so basically, from what my experience is, the threaded bolts that go into a torque converter cover part of the transmission. And instead of it taking sheet metal screws, it'll take threaded holes. You see these big threaded holes, and this should line all up, you know. And ultimately, that's, you know, I didn't want to just rig something in there. I wanted it to be right. And, you know, in a certain sense, because of everything I got going on, I got the exhaust coming down through there. I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to compromise transmission by having exhaust run close, so this gives a barrier of where to go. And, you know, there's still other things got to be welded underneath. I got to put the old master cylinder back in so I can hook up the emergency brake cable. Lots of stuff, you know. I got that material right there for that rear deck. What else? Bought a couple of random pieces here because that exhaust on the, and here's the thing, a lot of exhaust guys, they don't want to make it so that it's easy to take apart, and it bothers the hell out of me. They're like, oh, just weld it together, it's better. No, it's not if you're the mechanic. So even the guy I like to go to, he doesn't like to do it that way. And I'm like, so now I got to figure out what I'm doing here, and then I got to maybe they have a thing that joins together with a 3-bolt flange. So I got to tack it all up, get a welder so I can make a Y pipe at least. And I'm not even sure if I want to make a Y pipe. I might go duals on this because it's just, I don't know how much, you know, because it almost seems like I got more room on the driver's side now. But I do have the stuff there, but it's like less room on the passenger side to put that Y, you know. So there's a few things that bother me, and I'll know more once I get closer, because I can't really, you know, I got to do the stuff I can definitely do, and then get to the more tedious stuff. That's basically the way I've been doing it, and it takes forever, and I got more of a mess. I keep tripping. Trying to think. Yeah, so we're doing pretty good. There's a lot of positive stuff here. I straightened out most of the vacuum lines that were a little bit funny. I think the distributor goes there. It's got that line. It might be a little loose. We have to get a different hose. I even forgot what I said I was going to do with this yellow one here. Damn. Oh no, that's the one that's the emergency shutdown. So this one goes there. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm like trying to think. I know this looks like Spaghetti Freddy, but it's going to look buttoned up for the most part. And I'm trying to figure out the amp gauge, which I had to buy I bought 2 sets of them because AI was telling me I should use something that might be a little weaker, because it's 94 amps. You want to use 100, but then the amp meter gauge may not work very much. I don't know. So I bought both. One comes from China, one is more local. I don't even know if I received it yet. It may be in the car, but ultimately it's going to be mounted on the battery itself, and then all these 3 connections are all going to be, you know, on it on the other side. I hope I can manage that. We shall see. I may, because I think this first one here is going to the electric steering. So rather than, because like everything's getting dummied up over here, you know, buttoned up, loaded up over here. So I just don't feel right about that, you know. But I have 2 of the 3 here are going, well, one is going to the other side. So that's with the key on. So it gets its power from here, but it's not being utilized until the key's on. So that's fine. That should be accurate. The only thing is I might have done differently then is to take out, because I could technically put the shunt over here. See, I would need another stud to hold all this stuff, and then put one wire from there to there, and then move this guy to over here. That way there's only two main lines here, or I just, one line is going to the starter, so that's not even going to have it. That's right, I don't have to include that. So it would be good if the shunt was just on this, but I had to put this guy on this, and there's just not enough room here. But by the time I'm done, there's a possibility I have a little adapter here, a little stud thing, that you put one on one, and then the one stud goes here then. Because all this shit is way thick. It's thicker than it needs to be. And then I got two sets, at least three sets, because one is coming from the other thing there, this thing here. So I don't know if the stud that I buy would be able to, well, that's one stud there, and then there's the other, oh, that's this that goes here. But the power that comes from here, which is there another one here? There's three. That's the battery. Yeah, it's got to be this one. I think, no, that's going to the alternator. Okay. So yeah, if I had another stud that loaded it all up, and then I put one thick wire from here to there, that might be the way to go. And then I would do, just like I'm going to put this guy here, I'm going to screw it in, there's going to be another one here then. So I might consider that, because the shunt is going to work out better if it was away from the battery, I think that would be more ideal. That way the starter can stay here. The electric steering, then you could kind of look, you could see the amp meter gauge work then, and the more load it has, the gauge, the more it'll work if it's closer to that 100 amp. So a shunt is basically, you put the battery source to everything else going on the other side, and there's two extra wires, and you put those two in. That's this black and this yellow, and there's a black hanging around here somewhere. So that's pretty much there. A lot of good stuff. I mean, this car is going to be really top notch. I can't wait. Mechanically, I'm not the expert in, aesthetics. Oh, I drilled out this hole here. I put a rubber O-ring on it because it wasn't that great. I had to enlarge this in order to use this, but I really wanted the backlighting, which is a green light, which is comparable to everything else I had here. So I just thought that would be really cool. But it has a separate negative and positive, and the separate wire for the backlighting. So this was a wire I had for the backlighting, which radio ends up not needing, but it could be shared. It's just a small circuit to go to there. So it's pretty cool. A lot of cool gadgets for a 51 Studebaker. And then I got to make a center console. I got to hook up. This is the lights for that, and I have the Chevy Camaro shifter here, and a Corvette wood grain thing on the top there. I was thinking of maybe the sides being out of diamond plate. I was thinking also I can make it out of wood. These are all possibilities, but then the top is the faux wood, but it also has a mechanical thing. I just don't know if I can use it with the Camaro shifter to make it move the, reverse neutral drive stuff, because it depends. The throw is different down here than it is up here. So that's how high I'd have to make the center console to make that work. So that's another thing. And this guy here is going to be a tiny slight angle. At first I was going to make it a steep angle, which gives me more room with this, but it just, it'd be very hard to install, I think, in the end. And it was too much guesswork over here with these brackets. This is the simplest way. And, this side is going to be pretty hard, but this side is relatively easy. But with the flopping, this guy here. Now, I know I had a longer one. This one's a pain in the ass. I was barely getting it. But, and it seems to be like it doesn't quite reach, even though it goes on there. I think the bracket extends, and I still had to go. And I'm sorry. Even though that looks like it works, but it's still, if it was a long one, which I know I have something somewhere. I think I do. What else? Yeah, I'm anxious to get the steering wheel all in, and I gotta think about where the speaker wire is gonna go for the front. Like I said, I'm gonna use that other thing. There's this doorbell wire here that I never took out because it went under the floor here. So I'm like, you know what? I think they were using that for speakers, and I just saw the wire on the rear deck there. It was like kind of wedged. The seat was wedged on it, and yeah, this is. I mean, there's so much little things, but it's all good stuff. I put the hazard switch in. I just got the wire. All these wires are for the directional signal thing. This is for the brake light. You know, this light here. So, and it says brake, and that, like I said, it turns green when you're driving, and then it's yellow when you pull it, and then it's red when the sensor trips on the master cylinder. What else? I don't know. That covers a lot. It's all like little tedious shit. Like, I can't believe how much I've been doing, and it's like it really didn't seem like I got far, and I just never filmed it because it just, I don't know. I still got to weld I said I was going to weld the pivots there, so the tires stop a little early. Put a ball of weld on it, you know, best I can. I think it's going to work out just fine. And I got new grease fittings for the front end because some of them had to come out and weren't working. So once that's settled, I think that'll be good. Because it doesn't need to spin that far, you know. And as far as the steering being tight, it's really only tight in coming off dead center, you know. So it kind of, in a certain sense, it gives you that kind of firm feel in the middle. And once you lay into it, and if you're moving, it's like not going to be an issue, you know. I really don't. And I bought a spinner. I think those things are needed. It's such a big steering wheel, and you think you have leverage, and it's not as much leverage as it looks. And just having that just definitely helps. I think just for a girl driving it, I think she'll appreciate it. Gives a nice 50s look. And you know, I'm doing the best I can with that steering wheel, and you know, just doing a few things to spruce it up. So that's where I'm at right now, and it's the 4th of July. I don't know how much longer I'll be here today, but a lot of good things are happening, but a little slower than I'd like. The heat is a little much. The sun is a little much. But every day I tell myself I want to just try to do a little something on the car, you know. Like, I couldn't do anything yesterday. It was like 107 index or something, 105, I forget. But so far I'm happy. I bought laundry dryer hose, the heavy metal one, to go underneath the car because the exhaust is going to be so close. I just didn't want to have that to be an issue. The original one was like some kind of asbestos, you know, cloth stuff, and the exhaust was relatively fine away from it, and I think it's just going to be closer now, so it's a little more important. I have the more flexible one as well, but the flexible one can be used for the small piece up here probably if I can't do the aluminum because it's a little rigid. So these are all things I'm thinking about. Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned in the last video, I moved this around here. I rotated it, I unscrewed the 2 bolts. Now the bolts don't line up, so I just lined up, you know, I put one in the front. You don't have to see that one. And there's just enough room to get in there. I filled the transmission fluid on a different angle here. So now that I changed it, it may be a little bit off, but you know, I can get a pipe bender here and try to make it go up instead. But put clamps here to hold this guy in. You know, it's looking pretty good. I do have to find the air cleaner. I bought the square top air cleaner here. It's round, but it's square for the base of the top of the carburetor there. And I'm not quite sure if it's going to fit with my hoses and whatnot. I really should have checked that before I winged them down, but it's facing forward. This particular AC compressor was a similar one that was in here. And what else? It was a similar one that was in here, but the Jeep one was a little different than the GM one. And the Jeep one, the guy wants $250 for an air cleaner. So I got a $25 one for Chevy, S10. So I got to find out. I got to clean it up. I got to paint it and test fit it, or I could test fit it before I paint it. But that's where I'm at right now. I just wanted to make a short video that updated everything I was kind of doing for the most part. I mean, I don't know. I say a lot of stuff. I don't know how much people are really listening to me in the videos. Hopefully I didn't cover up my mic here. But if there's any questions, if people want to know anything, ask me a question. That's fine. And that's it. I'll let you know when there's some more updates. So I did have the 100 amp shunt, and it ain't doing shit. So I actually just decided to run the whole car through the gauge with these little jumpers, and that should make it go. Now it works, it goes through, but the gauge is not moving. So I don't know if something happened when I tightened it. It was ready to break inside, but I would think that it has no power, but it does. Right now I have it transferred through that little key, and it ain't doing shit. Ain't moving at all. So there's some issue here. So I guess we're not going to have an amp gauge because I went through all this trouble to put this in here. And man, it's one disaster after another. Can't win. Just can't win. However, I found the air cleaner. And other than some of this emission shit, which I probably won't remove, this hose here, I'll probably put it on the front of the carburetor here, because that's just basically if it leaks out something. But look at that. It's like it's meant to be. Everything is meant to be with this. I really like the way everything's fitting. Crazy. Well, I think that's going to be the end of this video, but you'll see another one after this if I decide to put something else after it. But I just wanted to put something out there for 4th of July. And we're going to wish everybody a happy 4th, and big things are coming. And the country's going to make a big change soon, and I hope everybody's a part of it. And be well, Patriots.